Guys, if you follow this channel, you know that I'm a major blockhead, meaning I love all things Blokees related. And in this video, we're going to talk about the latest addition to the Galaxy version line, and that's Galaxy version 0707, One Wave 2, and this covers the Transformers 1 line. In this video, I'm going to show you all the random characters that are hidden in the box, go over the nuances, and talk about the differences between this and the previous Galaxy versions, and we're also going to build one as well. But before we do that, for the uninitiated, let me introduce you to the brand just a little bit. Okay, so for the unfamiliar and uninitiated, and you know what? I was going to say the Blokees brand these days, I would say they're pretty ubiquitous in the collector space. Wouldn't you say so? But I'll intro them anyway. Like, these are actually like building toys. They're not building toys like Lego. They're more like Gundam, and you're going to get like a Gunpla experience, and I mean that in the most complimentary way possible. They come in all these different scales, shapes, and sizes and difficulty. The first one is the simplest that we saw as the Defender. Galaxy is the next step up, and this is the Classics class, and on the sides, I know you can't really see them, but we have the Action Editions as well, and I'll cover that in another video. But in this particular video, we're going to cover the Galaxy class category, and one of the really cool things is that in the past, people have kind of mentioned that the Galaxy version is a blown up version of the Defender, meaning, yes, of course, there are more details and this is bigger, but the articulation is more or less the same. Ball joints, articulation in the shoulders, elbows, waist, wrist, hips, knees, and things like that. But the new line of the Galaxy version, it kind of bridges the gap between the Classics version and the Galaxy version. There's new engineering and new articulation from what I've seen in the torso, and I'm pretty excited to explore that and show that to you as well. I have not experienced it firsthand. I've only seen some images, but yeah, really excited about that. And one other thing about the Blokees brand is that, as you can see over here, there are a plethora of licenses and IPs. These are legit. These are official licenses. None of this stuff is bootlegged. And you can see, man, the cleanliness of that sculpt, the accuracy of the details. It's so good. And this is one of my personal favorites, Sesame Street. I straight cried when I was building Oscar the Grouch. You should check out my review of that. And there's some other things that you can't even see. Like, for instance, the Minions. Big man over here, he has a metal disc inside, and that metal disc is to help him to stand as a center of gravity, because he's actually a fruit bearer. And so for the designers, the individuals, to kind of think about all of this, the physics of all of this, it's just really pleasing to me as a collector and as a fan. And so, yeah, I really enjoy the Blokees brand. But anyway, let me pop a couple of these out. I'll build them off camera, and we'll also build one together as well, and so that you can kind of get the full scope and full experience, okay? Okay, here's everyone out of the package. Initially, I was going to save one to build, but I think I could still show you the composition of the character. So initially, I wanted to show you these guys, and these guys are from the previous Galaxy version line. And as you can see, there's a certain vibe about them. You can see how they look kind of similar, right? But there's been an evolution to this. One, that soul block that I mentioned earlier, that has undergone a radical modification. And also, as you can see, the two of them, they don't really look like one another. There's heavy specialization in each of the characters, and that really helps them stand out. And in addition, that soul block that I mentioned really helps bridge the gap between these two lines, the Galaxy line and the Classics line. And so this is now kind of coming into its own and occupying its own particular space versus kind of being a blown up Defender line. And nothing wrong with that, but I'm just really happy to see the evolution. If you've noticed, there's a Saint Seiya guy over here, and you're like, why is the homeboy over here, right? And the reason why he's here is I wanted to actually show you Alita 1. Alita 1 is very unique. Yes, everybody is highly stylized and specialized, but she is so different from the rest of them. In terms of how she's built, she is more like this Saint Seiya character than she is the other figures. The arms, they even look similar. You see the biceps, right? And look at that comparison of the forearms. And even the way the legs come together, she has an independent knee joint that is not one of those polycap joints. It's more like what you see over here. So really great to see that DNA that exists in some of the other Blokees characters proliferating into this line as well. I mean, it's really by whatever means necessary to get the most accurate sculpt. And that's another thing that I really enjoy about them is their sculpt work. And so here we have Orion Pax, right? He looks really good. Loving how that chest looks, the excellent paint deco that you can find throughout all their characters. I do wish he had a couple of ports on the back, and so that he could utilize the jetpack and the thrusters that D16 and Alita 1 have, but whatever, very minor. He comes with this very cool miner equipment. I don't think we've seen any Transformers One toy come with the mining equipment, so that's pretty cool. That is really, really cool. I've seen some add-on kits, some third-party add-on kits kind of tease it, but from a first-party or officially licensed Hasbro at least, this is the first that I've seen. And in the event that you want to pop these off, oh, it attaches via two mechanisms. I'm trying to see what's the best way to do it, but okay. So I'm just going to pop off the fist. Oh, it's a tight fit. So the reason why I'm popping off the fist, you'll see, it's going to be worth it, is boom, 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 boom. He has El Matrixo of El Leadership O. My fake Spanish. The Matrix of Leadership. And it fits between the two palms. And I was looking to see if some of the older hands also have that groove, and so they do, meaning that you can use your older Galaxy version characters from the other lines that have the open palm and have them wielding the Matrix for a lot of fun play patterns and, just kind of creating lore and imagination. And so that's awesome. That is absolutely awesome. Now I kind of want the Cogless Orion and an Optimus Prime as well, so that I can kind of recreate that particular scene, right? Almost like he's doing Cat's Cradle. But no, he's great. He's great. And so we have Shockwave over here too. Looks very nice. And so one of the things about this is that soul block that I keep mentioning, right? Here, let me actually show you the previous soul block. This basically is the block, and then it's encapsulated by two pieces. They are not necessarily attached to this, but it's just kind of squeezing and holding around it. And that works totally fine. And in terms of how the waist works, there's just a port and a post, a very thick one. And you put that there, and then you have this waist articulation. Hey, focus up. And you have this waist articulation. In the new model, there's a couple of things. This. You see how I lifted that up, right? Just pop the hand back in. How I lifted that waist up. Look what it allows this to do. Wow. Straight hula hooping, yoga, dancing, gymnastics. And then if you don't want to do that, you can press it down. But then, excuse me, if you lift it up, you can kind of get like an ab crunch as well. And that's something that we've never seen in a Galaxy line, or I haven't seen it. I don't know if Galaxy 06 does this, but I feel like it's new to Galaxy 07. And another thing that's quite different is that the shoulder composition. If we look at Ratchet over here, the way the shoulder is composed is there's a bicep and then there is a shoulder shield on top. And that's the way a lot of them have been working. But this one's completely different. This is actually composed of three pieces. We have the bicep here, and that is more or less the same, but it's actually facing outward. That hole that would connect to the shoulder is actually inside here. And then we have this silver piece. That's a second independent layer that you attach, that you sandwich on top of this. And then you have another layer that sits on top of that. And so it's a 3-piece versus a 2-piece. And again, they're doing it just really to get that show accuracy. And the legs also looking very different from one another. Whereas you compare these, and perhaps by virtue of G1 being more like blocky, you kind of, blocky, get it? You can kind of see that they're utilizing they're utilizing the same shape. But when it comes to the Transformers 1 guys, because they are so unique and so different one another, you can see that despite it being somewhat similar, the engraving and things like that and the detailing make it very, very distinct. And I'm really, really liking that differentiation and specialization. Another thing is this. You see that? This over here has an independent neck ball joint along with a neck ball joint, whereas the other ones, they only have the head ball joint. You can't do this side-to-side thing going on over here. And so that added articulation along with the waist articulation, new layers on the shoulders really, really make this an enjoyable line. I showed off Alita 1 earlier. Oh, she also comes with this. This is pretty cool. She comes with that Cybertronian antelope that something happens to it. You know if you've seen the movie. But yeah, so she comes with that little extra bit. She looks very, very nice. Again, this shoulder bit, completely independent. You see what I mean? And yeah, and for the legs, this one's really interesting in that her calves, you snap them together. There are two halves instead of snapping them front and back, which is what's normally done. And as you can see inside, because she's rather thin, she doesn't have that standard soul block. What she does have is a skeletal system inside, which is, again, much more akin to the Saint Seiya figures. And it's very similar. It's very, very similar. But yeah, there's a skeletal system, and then there is this waist bit. And that too, of course, has that beautiful range of motion. But you can see it happening a little bit further up over there. And the details, again, of course, are very, very nice. I say this all the time, but dude, one of their hallmarks and one of the things that's most appealing to me is the level of accuracy and the detail that they choose to observe in the Blokees products. And yeah, it looks so... Oh, looks nice. Looks nice. Oh, and Alpha Trion. Alpha Trion looks so good. And one of the interesting things about him is that the head, rather than being like having it up here, they have it facing forward. And so you can get him in that kind of like hunched look, right? And his accessories on this translucent blue look very, very good. The chest armor, the shoulder armor, excuse me. All of this looks really, really great. Loving the details. And you can kind of see the faux transformation bits kind of like hidden within. And yeah, dude, you just gotta kind of get him in this like stooped pose. And that feels really good. And the head sculpt, of course, is very, very nicely done. They got this shimmeriness on his little spikes over here, and that looks really, really good. Yeah. I don't know, man. There's so many good ones, dude. But Starscream might be my favorite. He might be my favorite. He looks so, so good. And again, just bridging that gap between the Classics class and the what is it? The Galaxy version. You can see some very, very similar things going on over here, but at the same time, he does stand apart from his brethren. And these Classics class, I mean, you can't really touch them in terms of like details and articulation and stuff like that, because that's just kind of like the next level up. But boy, is this good. Is this good. The way this comes together, there are several independent pieces that plug into this like inner chassis that scrunches on the soul block. The waist details are great. The legs, they look good. The paint. This over here is really nice in that the shoulders are, again, three pieces. There's a bicep, and there is that black piece that you see on the inside, and then there is the silver shoulder mount on the outside. And that looks just really quite beautiful. And these also move as well. All of these are independent pieces that you put together, and so some of these have more pieces than others, more involved, and Starscream is definitely one of them. Head sculpt looks really good and has that with that double neck and head ball joint thing going on. Same thing with the waist. You get this up, and he goes and that looks really good. I'm still trying to decide which one of these I want to kind of disassemble to show you the build, but I'm still deciding right now. And of course, we have Badassatron, and he looks great. In terms of his accessories, one, he has this like this little blaster thing and these pieces of armor. You can remove them, and then you can attach a regular fist. You can also remove this as well, and he has a face swap, but it's a little hard to do. It's a little hard for me to do on camera, so I'm not going to do it. But he does have a faceplate that you can swap out, and he looks really good. And one of the things I was going to say is that, dude, Blokees pay so much love to Bumblebee, and I'm not hating on that, because in recent studies, like when I was working for Splash Damage and we were working on Reactivate, when we did a consumer survey to see which character is most popular, other than Optimus and Megatron, Bumblebee was just high up there, a high number 3, a distant from number 4, and so people really identify and people really relate to this guy, and he's come a long way. He used to be that tubby sidekick guy, you know what I mean? And he was just the VW Beetle, but I mean, look at him now. And you can see all the love that they've paid, all the love that he's been given, and the sculpt work that they paid attention to. Excuse me, I don't know what's stuck in my throat right now. And even his foot is actually made of several pieces. You can see there's a yellow bit, there's a black bit, where typically it's just kind of like one solid piece. And so a lot of love went into this guy. And so if you're a Bumblebee fan, I think you're going to really, really enjoy this particular figure. And then we have Mr. Wave of the sounds of music over here. He looks very nice. Man, I love the work that they've done in the shoulders. Again, just to do a quick comparison against the Classics class, like father, like son, as you can see. Chest looks all very similar, so you can see that they have similar decorations and motifs, but this one is slightly more simplified for the sake of its class, and the colors are more white than they are silver, so like almost harkening back to almost like a G1 look. I don't know. I don't know, but he looks good. He looks really, really good. And good articulation per the line. Oh, another thing I was going to mention is that their joints, they no longer come on sprues. I don't know if I mentioned that in the earlier part of the video. They come all pre-assembled and they look slightly different. And I think they started doing this in GV05 or 4. I don't know. But I do remember they made a change. And they also no longer come with stands. But I think that money that they're saving by not doing the stand is getting reincorporated into more character accuracy, getting them better joints and movement, and yeah, just kind of like improving. And as much as I love the stand, I could do without it. I could totally do without it, as long as the characters are getting more improved as a result of that. And he can kind of get into this faux alt mode. You want to see it? Yeah, sure you do. All right. So what I did is I popped the head off, and then I just kind of folded the forearms back. And then I mean, it's your standard Soundwave, and I just popped the leg off so that it flips the other way. But it's kind of cool because what you do is you do this, and then you rotate this up, and then you flip. You turn the foot around so that this almost like lines up there. Isn't that kind of neat? I think so. Soundwave has one of the easier alt modes to do, and a lot of the Blokees characters can kind of do this, but because it's Soundwave, it kind of stands out. And wait a minute, how'd I do that first foot? Okay, I think it's like that. That's not too hateful, right? And then you can pop this off if you need to, and then you have this faux boombox over here a la Soundwave. Yeah, too bad the head can't hide, but still, and then you got the hands over here like, ah! But yeah, so he can kind of do that, and that's pretty cool. Then, of course, we have a D16. We have Mr. D60, 16. He looks great. He looks like that guy from Buck Rogers, that dude. Most of you probably don't know that reference. The shoulder armor and some of the other ones, I don't know who else has this. I think Optimus and Megatron have this, but the shoulder armor is two pieces. We have the main shell, and then we have this piece of armor, this piece of a decoration, and that just looks really, really nice. The Megatron symbol that you can see on the shoulder is done well. And what's crazy is, like, dude, if you look at it, it's not symmetric. It's at an angle, just like how it was in the movie. So that level of detail and accuracy, I just absolutely love. And you can see that he is cogless. And yeah, man, and you can see, and I'm about to show you the eventual level up, if you will. And he does come with a backpack similar to Elita 1. It looks really nice. I don't think we have a D16 character out there as a toy, right? We just have Megatron, I think, or I could be wrong. Nonetheless, he looks good, and his eyes are still yellow. And now we have him in his Megatron form. As you can see, the eyes have turned red. His face is a little less friendly. And he's all armored up now, you know. And you can see some of those similarities there. But yeah, he's definitely gotten that level up. That glam, bam, bam. And then so you have his fusion cannon over here. So you can see that I did not pop the chase version. But that's totally okay. And then he has his secondary on the side over here. And the legs looking very, very Megatron. I mean, they did over here too. But this more so even, you know, harkening back to kind of the aesthetic of G1 to some extent. And that looks very nice, along with the red vents over here, the abdomen. Yeah, this thing screams Megatron, and it's done very well. And this iconic little back piece that I've seen and also know from some of the other Megatron toy figures. And I don't know. I'm trying to see like which one I should take apart. I don't even know if I truly need to take them apart, but I will point out some interesting things about Megatron and Shockwave in that here. Maybe I will be able to take Megatron apart. One of the cool things that I like, and some of the other Galaxy versions had this too, like Tarn had this. You can see that this shoulder, it is not protruding from the soul block. It's actually protruding from this shell that is plugged into the soul block. And so, yes, the soul block has the shoulder bits, but this, to accentuate the figure, to make it larger, it provides its own shoulder bits. And as you can see, normally you would be plugging the arm into this, but it's not. It's actually plugging into this armor. And that allows it to just look a little bit taller, beefier, and has the proper proportions and orientation for this character. Shockwave, I believe, has that. I think Starscream. No, Starscream doesn't have that. Maybe he did. I don't know, man. I'm about to have a Toby Wong moment from Reservoir Dogs. Toby Wong? Toby Chong? Where he can't quite remember the old guy. He's just having an old man moment right now. I'm trying to see which one I should take apart. Which one's easiest to do. Perhaps I can show you Prime. The way the legs work. You know what? It would have been great if I had Sentinel here so I could like split them apart. So the way the thighs work is that they have a individual thigh bit. Then it plugs into that hinge knee joint. Same thing for the elbow. And that piece plugs into this calf part. The shin is an independent piece. And so this part might look similar from some of the other figures, but this is what really kind of like helps it stand apart. And on the inside, you see the ball joint that's used for the ankle, and then you can see the foot attached. And that's how most of the leg composition works for these figures. And above the leg, on this waist bit, this is an independent piece. And then you have the two shells, the two panels on the outside sandwich it, and that also gives it some decoration and character. And on top of that, this is new. You see that little ring? That is an independent piece over there. And those two little notches that you see are going to correspond to those little tabs, not tabs, but those pieces of plastic that you see on the outside of that ring. And that will allow this to sit and not move independently. It will lock in place. But if you want to get that good waist movement, you just kind of pull up a little bit. Yeah, you can, and then you can see that the ring is still in there, right? And then from here, you can kind of do the boom, 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 boom. You can give them the ab crunch, and so lots of great articulation there. Sorry, Prime, I'm gonna pop your arms out. You still got the touch, buddy. And this is how most of the arms work. If they are a single layer, you will have a bicep, and then you have the shoulder bit that you just slide on. There's actually grooves inside this bit, and then you can see that little gray piece, that additional piece, that silver bit that's out there, and then you can see that there are little posts on the outside of the bicep, and you just push those up and they will softly lock in place. And then we have that polycap elbow joint over here, and then that's inserted into the forearm, and then you have the fist, and you just plug that into the shoulder. And Prime also has separate shoulders that they are not part of the sole block, and so I'm sorry, Orion. But you're such a great guy to use for the example. And what you're seeing, that port inside over here, that is from their sole block. Hold on for a second. I need to get a spudger so that I can show you what it looks like. Okay, for comparison, I actually took apart Smokescreen so that you could see how this is composed. There's the block over here, and then there are two independent shoulder joints. Some of them still have that, and some of them have that. But the main difference that I want to point out is that previously, the shell, this wouldn't be snapping into the sole block necessarily. It is actually going to attach to the front of this. And so you can see that there are little teeth over here, the posts, and you just sandwich that, and well, if you line it up correctly. Yeah, that's what it looks like. And so it's really the back and the front sandwiching that block together, right? In the new one, it looks very different, and there's a lot more deco and paint on here. These little ball joints, those are still present, but what you can see is they have these little inserts, these tabs that almost look like an electrical outlet. And so the back no longer plugs into the front. Actually, Prime's might, because this is slightly different, but this will plug in independently like that. And, oh geez, there you go. And so this now plugs into this, which is a much more secure connection. And in the sake, for Prime's example, yeah, he does come with a couple of other posts, but this will also plug into the chest. As you can see, it has those little teeth over here, these tabs, and then you can see it has the slots, and then you just bring that together, and that's a very, very firm connection. And then after that, this independent neck joint, you pop it into the head, and then you pop that into the torso, into the collar, and you can see he's coming together. And then from there, we just add the arms. The shoulders go directly into the sockets. And we're good. So you definitely see the evolution of this into this. And again, just seeing Blokees like make those strides in their quest for kind of like accuracy, perfection, and just additional detail to bring these to us, the fans, is a journey that I'm all on board for. And I can't wait to see more of them. I just can't wait to see more. But yeah, man, this has been the quick introduction, perhaps not a quick introduction. This has been the introduction to GV07, Galaxy version 07 of Blokees, covering the Transformers 1 line. And again, I'm just such a big fan of what they're doing. I'm a blockhead, and maybe you are too. And if you are, I hope you've enjoyed this video. And again, thank you for your precious donation of time. I will catch up with you another day, okay? Adios, skis broskis.